with the new ban list in effect, players are gearing up for the Dallas Card Fest Regional. Eager to get their practice in, every Monday night I host a Webcam local event with nearly 40 participants where they compete for booster boxes and the honor of seeing their names on deck building sites in the meta section like Eggman events. Join me as I break down the top performing decks for the BT17.5 format during this exciting time. Also, while you're watching this content, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Seeing your support for these types of videos let me know I'm going in the right direction. Let's go ahead and dive right on in. So previously, I made a video called 17.5 Kings of the Format. 17.5, for anyone who doesn't know, is what I'm calling the format after the ban list in BT17 because looking at them side by side are very different formats. Some of the top decks just got completely gutted, while others got slowed down, and other decks just got a boon in their existence and popularity since they weren't touched. And the main things I just want to cover, top 3 decks, I don't think they're going to be undisputed. It's going to be blue decks. They weren't really touched at all. Meanwhile, I think Tyrant is going to be one deck to really keep an eye on in that prediction video. One thing I did add to this tier list I didn't have in that video was Secon. Secon, I think, is a deck that could probably be adapted to deal with the meta decks, but it still takes time and innovation to get to. So let's go ahead and showcase the top 8 from my Webcam local on this Monday. Before we talk about the decks that did well in my event, I think it's important to look at the meta as a whole to see how much of the pie each deck brought. Ancient Guru brought more than twice the next most popular deck, which then after that was Blue-Green Imperial and Magnamon X variants, which was followed by Dora Goramon, Fenri Takamazuchi, and Mirage Galgamon, a bunch of other decks in the other category because there's 2 or less pilots for each one. One thing I really think is important to emphasize in this top 8 breakdown, we'll look at the deck list here in a second, is 5 of the top 8 decks are an Imperial Paladin Ace, naturally in the deck. Because that card is naturally in the deck, purple decks did not perform super well in this event, so Dora Goramon may be a strong deck, but because blue decks exist in a naturally run Paladin Ace, it hurts them quite a bit. So now let's go ahead and take the deck list in particular. First, we got our Blue-Green Imperial list. What I really want to emphasize in this build, like I said, you have your traditional Imperial cards, but you also have the Paladin Ace. If we look at our second place list, this is Yellow Vaccine Magnamon. He only has the 1 Awakening, but they are able to slot the Awakening Golden Knights with Yellow Memory Boost, and with that card you're actually able just to find all your cards you need a lot faster and still turbo up your stacks, especially with the physical training. Third place we had a Magnamon base Magna X, or the V base, and like I said again, you got that Paladin Ace, and you're slotting out the Awakening Golden Knights for other cards. You still have your Blinding Rays, you still have your Heaven's Judgments, but it looks like it was Blue Memory Boost that was upped in counts, along with Full Moon Meteor Impacts. Fourth place, the fun deck of the format that really surprised a lot of people, Royal Knights. This was a deck I said was on my radar to look out for, and this deck had a really cool highlight match against Demon Lords, where the Paladin Ace not only reset the trash of Demon Lords, but also reset their Drazel eggs, so they're actually able to go back into their Drazel game plan. And notice the BT, I believe it's 14 Kari Fixer. This card is a tech for Mirage Galgamon. The moment they bounce the security, you give security attack -1, and they can no longer OTK you as they're not doing any damage with their stack because most of them don't run the Arrow of Vidramon anymore. And then Aces are also really cool in this deck because the Drazel effect to not Digivolve is only during your turn, so you can blast Digivolve into any of your Ace targets. So the Paladin Ace, the Crimson Ace in particular, are really strong standouts. Next deck we want to highlight is Ancient Garurumon. Ancient Garurumon, again, they have blue and red base variants. This base ran a red base, and they did have use of a Lunamon. Lunamon, I believe, was used to bounce the dead bodies on their board, or just bounce itself to get 2 memory back, start main phase, and triggered the Ancient Garurumon Your Turn effect to bounce its security. The Omnimon list is not available at the moment, as it is something being prepared for Dallas Card Fest. And 7th place, we do have our red hybrid player. Ancient Greymon is a very strong card. Being able to swing multiple checks, pop bodies, and just be hyper aggressive is never a bad game plan, especially when you have blue wind-up OTK style decks. If you can deal with a board, continuously push pressure, have piercing, you will have a very strong game plan against them. With that being said, that is the meta wrap-up. Let's go and take a look at a meta score index. The meta score is a concept and index I created with the intention of ranking decks on how well they perform. Rather than just looking at one aspect or 2 aspects, the whole idea is you look at 3 different aspects for a deck to determine how well it performed. So if you guys have ideas for how I can improve this in the future, don't be afraid to leave that in the comments below. But the 3 things I looked at was how frequent a deck was brought, the win rate the deck had, and then the conversion score the deck had. If you just look at how often a deck was brought, it doesn't really show you how well the deck did in the higher table performance. If you look at the win rate, it doesn't show you accurately how well the deck performed on a low deck population count. And then the last thing is the conversion score. How well did the decks actually do? If a lot of people brought the same deck, but none of them tops, it doesn't really show you the deck's good. It just shows you it's a consistent deck that people feel like is good enough to bring. So that's why I looked at these 3 aspects for the score. The perceived percentage, or the perceived meta of players participating, the win rate of how well a deck is performing on a match basis, and then the conversion score, what decks are actually punching in at the top spots. If we take a look at this, I weighed out so each part is equal in thirds, and I think it's very interesting if we look at statistically the top 3 from this index. Magna X, Ancient Gurumon, and Blue Green Imperial are the top 3 decks. Now, of course, one webcam local is going to be a bit skewed towards what actually being played. There's no Tyrant, so there's no stats to show for Tyrant in particular, but you can see Ancient Grey, Royal Knights, Omnimon, and Mirage Gal are all performing on roughly the same tier, along with Dorogoramon. And then it's actually very notable that the other decks perform better than Takamizuchi. The 3 Takamizuchi players did not have a good run because, like I mentioned, Paladin Ace is such a strong card. If you guys enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and give me ideas for how I can improve this index as I add more data onto it and show a more holistic picture of BT17.5. With that being said, thank you so much, take care, and have a nice one.